Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Thursday, August the 29th. Today, we're going to be focusing, of course, on Nvidia post earnings. We had a nice bullish reaction. We're currently up around 6% here on Nvidia. As you can see, the overall markets are bouncing in the after hours as well. All thanks to Nvidia earnings so far. The Qs above our previous day highs. Yes, we are actually trying to break outside of the mini range that we do have. So coming into today, we'll see if we can get some continuation here post earnings. We'll take a look at some of the names that we have as well. We have a lot of semiconductors that are moving up nicely. But yeah, with that being said, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. What's up, J-Tan? Good morning, B Roots, Maria Lamit, Knight. Good morning, Kelvin Wallace. Please post the trade. So the AMD trade was above our previous day highs. Did you close partials along the ways? I scaled 80% into our daily gap, 85%, and then I left a few trailers. So basically, for Nvidia, sold majority of my position up into this 492 is more so just a scalp trade, just because we are kind of consolidating. Today we are breaking outside of the range that we've had. So now we'll see if we can get some continuation here in the markets. Good morning, Gerald, Cody. Good morning, Sinna, Juan, Sakis. Good morning, Z Norris. Good morning, Cynthia. Second day trying to do this investing thing with this encouragement. Awesome. Alejandro. Good morning, Deuce. What's up, Andy? Big up, Ashley, Andrea. Good morning, Gustav. Yeah, hope you guys are doing well. It's the 20, did I say the 29th? I meant the 27th. But yeah, with that being said, let's pull up the economic calendar here. Let's talk about some of the news events that we have coming into today. The main thing, of course, is the Nvidia post earnings play, which we have initial bullish reaction off of. So key levels that we have marked out. Let's keep an eye out on, some of the key news events that we have coming into today. We do have unemployment claims that is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on, and today as well, we do have day one of the Jackson Hole Symposium. And then, of course, tomorrow we have Fed Chair. He's going to be speaking at 10 a.m. We have some more red folder news events plus consumer sentiment. And then we have day 2 and day 3 of the Jackson Hole Symposium. That's going to be Friday and Saturday. So with that being said, these are the news events that we have, at least for today. We do have unemployment, not really expecting it to affect the market as much. The main thing here is the Nvidia earnings. So as you can see, Nvidia yesterday, initial drop, but you can see nice pushback towards the upside. We are getting a little bit of sellers here off that 228, which is a higher time frame key area. And then for the SPY, we'll take a look at this here, but we're currently breaking outside of this mini range that we do have. So let's go on to the 15-minute time frame. As you can see here, the past couple sessions, we've just been consolidating here. So last week, we're just consolidating in between this range, which is that 762, along with our 768. Even a little bit more consolidation this week as well. And then finally yesterday, we broke above this key level here in the after hours with Nvidia earnings. So now what we'd like to see moving forward is just going to be this level of resistance, which, as you can see, we had multiple touches. We're breaking above. Now we're coming back for this retest. Let's keep an eye out on if SPY can hold this retest level, which is that previous day highs general area, for this pushback towards the upside. Let me just turn that on. So coming into market open here today, we'll keep an eye out on that 768. If we can maintain above this, we're going to be looking for that trade back towards the upside. If, let's say, within the first couple minutes or the first 10 to 15 minutes we drop, we get back underneath that 768, then that means we're just going to be more neutral and we're going to most likely go right back inside the range. So I would like to see the hold and a flip here in the markets. If we break back underneath, then we're going to be a little bit more hands off here on the SPY. ES, the key technical levels that we have marked out, we can just kind of mark out this area, which is also that previous day highs. The main level is at 710. We can just draw this out. We did break above in the after hours. Now let's see if we can hold this level for a continuation higher. If we do break back underneath, as I mentioned, then we're going to be a lot more patient here in the markets. As for the QQQ, let's take a look at the Qs here. So let's take a look at the daily time frame really quickly. Higher time frame, I do like this. Kind of right off that daily gap, buyers are stepping in here currently. Let's see if we can push back towards the upside here on the QQQ. Key technical levels that we have marked up is at 716 along with that 710. You can see this is the range that we have established. On Monday, we tried breaking underneath, and you can see a little bit more consolidation. And then yesterday, we did break above our 716. So coming into today, if we can maintain above that 716, we finally also broke outside of our no trade zone here on the SPY. So for the SPY, we mentioned, right, trading in between this range is definitely going to be a little bit more difficult, but we broke outside of our no trade zone, and now we can be looking to take some trades as long as you can maintain above that previous day highs. For the QQQ, 716 is going to be key. If we can maintain above this, we can be looking for that continuation back up in towards our 722 here today on the QQQ. If we do, let's say, for example, reject, we get underneath that 716, then I'm going to be a lot more patient here, but I'm going to have more so of a long bias coming into market open just because we're above our previous day highs. We're breaking outside this range. We had an initial bullish reaction on Nvidia, so now we're going to be looking for a continuation back towards the upside. If we take a look at the NQ, the key technical levels that we have marked out is this 29,400. You can see a little bit of consolidation, and now we're breaking outside of this consolidation. Let's keep an eye out on this retest for a flip back towards the upside. Key levels that we have marked out is really this area. You can see how much movement we had in the overnight session. Now for the NQ, just maintain above our 29,500 for a pushback towards the upside. So far, we're having some nice buyers step in the pre-market and the overnight session. We're going to be looking for continuation above 716 on the Qs, and then for the SPY above our 768. Let's take a look at the semiconductors here. So as you can see for the semis, we broke back above that 560, which is a key level. Mainly the move happened in the overnight session, of course, with Nvidia earnings. Now we are back into a higher time frame key technical level, which is that 580. If we do want to see continuation above that 580 hold for a pushback towards the upside, that's really the main level that I do have on the SMH. Other levels that I have marked out, I'm just going to mark out that 570. That's going to be the line in the sand for me today. So above our pre-market highs or above that 570, we can be looking for continuation. If we do ultimately break back underneath, there could be a mean reversion here in play. That's only if the Nvidia does end up reversing on day number one. And then for the rest of the markets, IWM still kind of consolidating. We're waiting for that break above our 300. So with that being said, there is quite a bit of names that we can talk about coming into market open. With Nvidia earnings, a lot of the semiconductors have been moving nicely. So if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you guys would like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. All right, let me grab some water here, and then we'll head on to the tech names. Okay, let's first start off here on Tesla. Tesla, a little bit weaker after coming close to that higher time frame gap level, which is at 370 here on the higher time frames. If you go back onto the lower time frames here, right now we're currently right at that daily gap high. So if we go into the daily time frame, right now we are kind of just retesting that previous gap high. So I would like to see buyers step in if we want to maintain a bullish bias here. On Nvidia, we want to see that continuation towards the upside. Of course, if we get back underneath that basically earnings day number one, then we can see a potential reversal. So key level is 340 moving forward here on Tesla. If we're on the hourly time frame, other levels that we have marked out here as well is our 350. So if you want to see a push higher, really above that 350 for continuation, or now it's going to be that retrace down in towards that 340, and we like to see buyers step in here. Right now, it's kind of in between its previous day's range, not too much movement in the after hours with the semiconductors. So the semiconductors are going to be our main focus here today. Let's take a look at AMD. So AMD here, the key technical levels that we have marked out is going to be that daily gap fill. Let's mark out that previous day highs here as well. So if we're on the daily time frame, you can see we have this gap created here on the charts. Yesterday, we pushed up into that gap and we had a little bit of seller step in. So now coming into today, you can see higher lows are trying to be built. If we can get above our previous day highs, we have room all the way back up in towards our 504 here on the higher time frame. So for AMD, let's keep an eye on that break and retest above our previous day highs for continuation towards the upside. This is going to be one of the main scenarios that we're going to be watching here for today. As for Nvidia, this is the main one. So let's go on to the higher time frames here. As you can see for Nvidia, we had roughly around like 6 to 7 down days in a row. We broke underneath that 210, but the main thing of course was earnings. And now you can see we're gapping up and we had a little bit of reaction off our 228. So if you go into the hourly time frame, we can see all the information in the overnight session as well. What are the main key levels that we have marked out? The main key levels is going to be that 228. That's also our pre-market highs. You can see a little bit of sellers are stepping in. We went from the bottom of the range all the way back up in towards the top of the range. So for Nvidia coming into today, we can also have our after hours highs marked out as well, which is going to be that 221. So the main level here for today on Nvidia is going to be that that after hours highs. If you want to see continuation towards the upside, maintain above our 220 for a pushback towards our 228 and above. Of course, another possible scenario above that pre-market high for continuation here as well. If we do break back underneath, we're probably just going to end up consolidating on the day, right? I don't expect a day one reversal all the way back down into there, in towards that 213. But if we do break underneath that after hours highs, we're most likely just going to consolidate here on Nvidia. Next levels will be 217 and potentially 215 and below here. So for Nvidia, we'll keep an eye on that 221 right off the bat. Has IV crushed on Nvidia options, or do we need to wait until the market opens? For Nvidia, the move was around plus 7% on the implied volatility. So you do want to wait for an IV flush. If you do want to trade this towards the upside right off the bat, we like to see what's called a dip and rip. So really the scenario, you can see markets are pulling back here. We like to see it just maintain right off the bat. It could either dip within the first couple of minutes and you want to see it bounce back towards the upside if you're going to trade this one right off the bat. We'd much rather trade this than looking for something like this to play out, which would be that pre-market highs, because the IV would still be elevated. So preferably the dip coming into market open for a pushback towards the upside. As for Nvidia, more so on the higher time frames, you can see now we just have this level marked out. So we like to form kind of that cup and handle thesis. That's why we mentioned that pre-market highs, or that after hours highs along with our pre-market lows for a potential move higher, or now be the break above our pre-market highs for a continuation towards the upside. So these are the key scenarios. The line in the sand for Nvidia here today is just going to be that 220. So just keep an eye out for that coming into market open. That's the main one, of course, and then we have a lot more other sympathies that are moving nicely in the after hours. As for Apple, this one more so just consolidating, not really too much to talk about. Key levels that we have marked out is that 315. I mentioned if we do want to see any sort of longs, we need to see the break back above that 315. Currently, you can see a little bit of rejections here off that area. As for Google, more so ranging in between that 348 along with our 338 until we can break outside of this. We want to be a little bit more cautious. As for Microsoft, this one had a nice push up yesterday. We got above our previous day highs as well. Nice push up into that 500. A little bit of rejections here in the after hours, and now we're gapping back down. So for Microsoft, This is kind of the area that we broke out from yesterday. If you do want to see continuation maintain above that 492 for a potential pushback towards the upside. If we do get back underneath, we do have to be cautious of a potential flip here in the markets. As for Meta, key technical levels that we have marked out is at 600. So Meta had some news here in the pre-market that pushed all the way up into that 600. And within the first 15 minutes, we reversed all the way back towards the downside. So really nice move in the really nice move in the pre-market, only to be rejected pretty aggressively. And now we're just kind of consolidating in between the middle of the range. So I would be a little bit more cautious on Meta now. Probably not something we want to trade today. On the higher time frame wise, we did have a nice push higher, but right now the daily time frame is not as clear. If we do want to see longs, preferably above our 600 key strike level here on the higher time frames. Amazon, a little bit more consolidation here as well. We need to break back above our previous day highs. Netflix, we need it above that 82.50. SpaceX is something I like quite a bit. So the daily time frame, if we put on the EMAs, we're starting to curl here as well. Key technical levels that we have marked out, we can mark out this daily downtrend. So far, we're basing above that 130. Let's keep an eye out on this potential break above our previous day highs for continuation towards the upside. Key technical levels that we have marked out here today on the hourly is primarily just this previous day high area. You can see how many touches we've had off this general area. So now we just like to see the flip and a pushback towards the upside here on SpaceX. So let's keep an eye out on our previous day high retest. We have multiple touches here from the day previous, yesterday as well. Now we're breaking above it here in the pre-market. Let's keep an eye out for the bounce play for continuation. If we do get underneath, then we're most likely just going to potentially build up like a higher low. But the best case scenario, buyers step in above our previous day highs coming into market open. All right, with that being said, let's take a look at some of the semiconductors here, along with some memory names. Those are the names that are pushing up with Nvidia earnings. So that's going to be our main focus coming into today. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. And if you haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. Okay, let's talk about some of the semiconductors. We'll actually go into Palantir first, and then we'll head on to MU and the rest of the semis. So Palantir, we're just ranging. We went from the bottom of the range yesterday all the way back to the top of the range. And you can see a little bit of sellers are right at this 180. I do still like Palantir, but now it's going to be a break of that 180 is key. If we can break above this, then we can see continuation towards the upside. But we need to see a break above that 180 for continuation. You can see that's our key level. Let's take a look at MU. MU is gapping up here, of course, with Nvidia earnings in the after hours. MU, we had a solid base above that 940, and now you can see we're moving in the after hours. What are our key technical levels coming into today? The levels that we have marked out on the hourly is this 980 on the higher time frame. So we went from our 940 all the way up into that 980. You can see a little bit of reaction here currently in the pre-market. If you want to see continuation, we are number one, well above our previous day highs. We're gapping up here roughly 4%. If we want to see continuation above that 980 hold for a push towards the upside here is in play today. So let's keep an eye out on MU for the break and retest above 980 or potentially some sort of pullback long above our 980 reclaim for a pushback towards the upside. So we'll keep an eye out on MU. As for SNDK, this one is bouncing right off that 1450. We're right back into a key technical level here on the higher time frames. Now we like to see the break above hold for continuation towards the upside. So key technical levels here on SNDK is going to be that 1560. Let's keep an eye out on this level here for a push up in towards our 1600 and our 1630 here on the higher time frames. A lot of the semis are looking solid, more so memory tickers. As for DRAM, You can see we are gapping up here in the after hours once again. Went from our 56 all the way up into that 59. If you do want to see continuation above our 59, hold for a push up in towards 60 and above. So that's what we have for SNDK. INTC, a little bit of bounce off the lows. INTC a little bit weaker on the higher time frame wise, but this one had some news a couple days ago. Yesterday, another nice move in the after hours. So for INTC, key technical levels that we have marked out, 91.50. We're going to need to see the break above that if we want to see continuation. So right now, either the hold above our 90 or now the break above our 91.50, hold above that for continuation towards the upside. WDC, this one's bouncing off the low, so nice kind of earnings reversal set up here on WDC. Buyers are stepping in off this 430. Nice pushback towards the upside. Let's keep an eye out on WDC above the main level, of course, is that previous day highs, which we're a lot farther away from. But WDC has room up and towards 500 here today. As for SK Hynix, you can see a lot of these names are moving nicely in the after hours. MRVL has earnings tonight. This one finally breaking above our 248 once again. You can see nice push towards the upside in the after hours. Now for MRVL, base above that 250 for continuation. This one looks good. Of course, it does have earnings tonight. Let's keep an eye out on MRVL above that 252 for continuation towards the upside. Other names that are moving nicely in the after hours, NBIS above our previous day highs. We like to see NBIS above this 230 for continuation towards the upside. Let's just refine some of the levels that we have here. So key level here on NBIS, 230 hold for continuation towards the upside. And then we have a bunch of other names that are moving nicely in the after hours, of course, with the Nvidia earnings. So that's going to be the key today. So far, you can see a little bit of buyers are stepping in. We're going to keep an eye out on that 222 coming into market open. All right, let's take a look at a few other tickers here. Can you take a look at mRNA? Moderna, this one recently broke outside, but you can see inside bar day yesterday here, mRNA. This one is still bullish on the higher time frames. We're just most likely going to consolidate a little bit more. Key levels that we have marked out now is going to be that 132 along with that 160. If you want to see continuation, either the hold of that 132 or now the break above that 160 for continuation towards the upside. Right now, we're just consolidating more so after that big day that we had last week. A little bit more consolidation in between the middle of the range. Now we like to see that break above that 160 for a push towards the upside. TSM, so a lot of names are moving in the after hours, specifically semiconductors. TSM here, key technical levels that we have marked out. Let's just refine this. What we have here on TSM is just going to be this 426. You can see how many touches we have off this general area. If we want to see continuation towards the upside, we need to see a break above, hold for continuation towards the upside. ARM, this one, nice bounce off the lows. If we're looking at this on a daily time frame perspective, ARM is very low risk currently. Right back into that earnings key level. We have kind of this higher time frame downtrend break forming here as well. Let's keep an eye on ARM for a potential bounce play. I do like this one quite a bit. Key technical levels that we have marked out is now going to be that 268. Let's keep an eye on ARM above our 268 coming into today. This one's been beaten down quite a bit. As I mentioned, as long as you can hold, maintain key technical levels, if we can break this downtrend break, we can see a flip back towards the upside. So let's keep an eye out on ARM. As for a few other tickers that we have, SMCI, this one as well. This one looks solid, right? We had earnings not too long ago. After this nice push towards the upside, now we're basing. SMCI looks good above our 38. Now hold above that 38, continuation back towards the upside here is in play. So we're above our previous day highs. That's one of the key levels that we have marked out. We can mark out this high here as well. Maintain above our 38.50 for continuation towards the upside. Let's take a look at a few other tickers. STX, another memory ticker here. Now we like to see the break back above. Really this level, which is going to be that 926 on the higher time frames. Right now for STX, we can just refine a couple of levels that we have marked out. We're currently above our 860 We like to see it maintain above 860, flip back towards the upside here. Let's take a look at Dell. Dell looks really solid here as well. If we can get back above that previous all-time highs. Let me just get rid of a couple levels. The main levels that matter here on Dell is going to be that previous all-time highs. So if we go into the hourly chart, currently we're trying to get back above. This is our previous day highs here as well. Let's keep an eye on the hold above that 468 for a push up in towards that 480. So with that being said, we just had some red folder news here as well. We do have unemployment, not really expecting it to affect the market as much. Orange folder news, yeah, basically came in line with expectations. So for the overall market, let's take a look at the game plan here once more today. All right, so the game plan here coming into today is just maintaining more bullish stance above that 716 here, right? Finally breaking outside this range. Let's keep an eye out for continuation towards the upside. As for the SPY, we're going to keep an eye out on that 768. If we can hold above, we can see this continue push towards the upside. Semis, of course, are the strongest this morning with Nvidia earnings. So we're going to keep an eye out on semiconductors above our pre-market lows and the after hours highs for continuation towards the upside. So we understand that Nvidia had some nice earnings, pushed towards the upside. So we'll keep an eye out on Nvidia above that 220 for continuation towards the upside here today. And with that being said, we're going to keep an eye out on AMD above our previous day highs. We're going to keep an eye out on Nvidia here as well. Other names I do like SpaceX based off that daily time frame that I talked about, and then a lot of the semiconductors and memory, right? MU above that 980 hold for continuation. SNDK above that 1560 for continuation. INTC, I don't mind this one, but keep an eye on the hold above 90, preferably above that pre-market high for a push towards the upside. And then a lot of the memory tickers are moving up nicely here. MRVL is moving nicely. This one, of course, has earnings tonight, so we'll be a little bit more cautious on that one. But today, the game plan is to just focus in on the semiconductors for continuation towards the upside. We'll also keep an eye out on the SPY now, breaking outside this range. So we're just going to be looking for the flip for a continuation towards the upside. Let's say for the first 15 to 30 minutes, if we just reverse all the way back inside of this range, then I'll be a lot more cautious, and then that most likely will invalidate the thesis coming into market open. But if we can maintain above this area, buyers step in aggressively, then we're going to be looking for this trade back towards the upside. So that's what I have for today. As I mentioned, focus in on the semiconductors. The main thing here is just keeping an eye out on Nvidia. That's what the overall market was waiting for yesterday, or basically the whole week. You can see we had a nice bullish reaction. So we'll see if we can have continuation coming into market open. So it's going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now. Hopefully you guys did enjoy that. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch, set of course is in the description below. With that being said, I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.